All right, the Georgia Bulldogs still ranked number 1 according to the Associated Press poll. 1,562 total points for the Dogs, more than 100 more than Michigan. Georgia with 55 first-place votes, Michigan with 1, Texas with 2, Ohio State perhaps deservedly with 1, and then Florida State with 3. I wonder, Washington finally gets a first-place vote. I was going to say, I wonder if people are watching Washington. I don't think they are. So your top 25 goes like this, and I've got a lot to say about it after that. Kansas at 24, Mizzou at 23, the Gators sticking in there at 22 somehow. Tennessee at 21, Ole Miss at 20, Oregon State down 5 to 19, Miami at 18, Duke trickling up at 17th, Wazoo at 16, Carolina at 15, Oklahoma, who played fine this week. It wasn't great. 14th LSU, same comment, down 1 to 13. Bama up 1 to 12. Notre Dame down to 11. I'm not sure I would penalize them like that, to be honest with you. Utah at 10. Oregon at 9. SC at 8. UW at 7. That's a lot of Pac-12 schools. And then you've got a lot of Big Ten schools as well. Penn State at 6. Florida State, the Noles dropping 1 after a sketchy game against Clemson. Ohio State up 2 with a narrow win at Notre Dame. Texas at 3, Michigan at 2, Georgia at 1. I think Georgia's the best team in the country. I'm not sure it's an obvious top 4 right now. I mean, I have to say I think Washington looks the best of anyone that I've seen play, including Georgia to some degree. I think Georgia would be favored in that game. I don't know about how much. USC I do not trust. Clearly people are watching them play because they dropped 3 spots. They're just goofing around too much with Arizona State, a team that is bad. I'm enjoying these eco-poly chairs, but the fall foliage is bringing some insects I thought we were done with. I don't have a partner. I need someone to sit with me and talk about all of this. But look, all these teams are not getting into the playoff. I mean, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, maybe you get 2. I don't know if we see that happening. Texas for sure could get in. They've got Oklahoma soon. They're going to be a favorite in that game. Right now, Michigan would be about a 3.5-point favorite over Ohio State. I maybe get Lou Holtz to say something about Ohio State again. But 55 first-place votes, I mean, I think that's probably about right. I mean, Michigan getting 1, Texas getting 2, the Buckeyes versus the world getting 1. Florida State's getting 3. If you're voting for Florida State at number 1 team in the country right now, I'm not sure quite what you're seeing versus what everyone else is. Washington with 1 first-place vote. I think the most dangerous team that no one is talking about is Washington. Georgia will be in the spotlight again this week. And the last time they were in the spotlight, which was against South Carolina, it wasn't so hot. So it's still hard to know where we are. And to be honest with you, I got to go shades here because this is pretty bright outside here. As we sit where we're at right now in college football, y'all, there's no one that's approaching last year's Georgia team. I think there's a lot of Ohio State from last year's team, which is a really good team, or teams that have issues. What will that mean as we move forward? I don't know. I mean, Georgia, if they get their act together, is not going to lose to these teams. But the kryptonite to Georgia is out there this year. Now, it was out there last year too. So last year you had Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and they were bringing guys with them. Michael Penix at Washington, certainly Caleb Williams at SC. They've got what it takes to get the job done. McNamara at Michigan, I will say, Michigan has had the same situation as Georgia, which is, it's not been an unbelievable schedule. But Georgia will be now, I think like Michigan, we will be, into September and they will have played 2 league games. If Georgia dominates Auburn, which I sort of expect, to be honest with you, just because of how rough Auburn is right now offensively, then it's going to be hard to say that someone's better than the Dawgs, because their main competition in Michigan has not really played a strong schedule either. Ohio State has probably the best win, Texas with the second best win, but Texas has been very shaky at times. Certainly Florida State has just, that's not been good. And so for all of the back and forth about Ohio State, I mean, hey, they got it done. They gutted it out. They got it done. They played they were good. So when they needed to be good, which was, down 3 or whatever it was, down 4, with everything on the line, and they drove the field to win. People will never forget that game for Ohio State. It doesn't win you the national championship, but it may give you a mulligan getting into the playoff. So we're just going to have to see. They don't have an elite quarterback. They have a good quarterback. And that's going to be the challenge, And you could say that maybe about Georgia. They have a really good quarterback. Is he elite? It looks like he can be. You can't have guys dropping balls. You can't have balls that are slightly off target. I mean, I think Carson Beck's played pretty well, generally speaking. I think the part about Carson that's been so positive is his ability to get out of mess with his feet. So that's something that I think for Georgia fans, he's stealing downs now. Like, that's what you want. You want to have the capability to steal plays. And he's done that a few times this year, kind of when they've needed it. Third and whatever, and he goes in third and whatever it was. I think 7 at one point. He goes and steals a first down. Hey, man, that's a big deal. So I think, in the grand scheme of things, I would still have Georgia as my 1. After that, I would put Washington as my 2, to be honest with you. And then probably Ohio State or Texas as my 3, 4, or 5 would be Ohio State, Texas, or Michigan, somewhere in that universe. Penn State has looked good too, but there's been a lot of varsity versus JV games out there for the big guys. Georgia wanted to play Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma's been fine. I don't think anyone's thinking, these guys are going to the playoff. I mean, I don't think so, but I could be wrong about that. Was Georgia's win over South Carolina a little better than we thought? I don't know. I think that was just kind of a game where, it's a league game. You're not playing hot on offense. The other guy got hot. Spencer Rattler's still hot, by the way. 18 of 20 last night against State. I mean, he's playing better and better, man. I mean, it's good stuff. But Florida State's not there right now. So there's a lot of undefeated teams. That doesn't mean you're good. And we got Kentucky, Florida this week. That will set the table for what could be a huge matchup in Athens. Kentucky is going to host the Gators. If they get to Athens 5-0, you probably will have a matchup of 5-0s, and Kentucky's not rated. Now that's amazing to me. They've not played great. They've not. They're narrowly out of the top 5. Fresno State gets in. They have deserved it, man. We watch way too much college football, but I mean Fresno State has definitely gotten it done. This is not about Fresno State, but they played well in North Carolina. I mean, you got a lot of undefeateds right now, and that's one indication of are you good or not. Are you winning? You got sort of the mishmash of teams: Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, North Carolina. There's some teams, Miami to some degree. There's some teams in here that we're not totally sure where they're at, but sometimes they look good and sometimes not so much. And you got sort of the higher end teams, the elite teams, if you will. And some of these have more flaws than others. USC has more flaws. I think Oregon's probably better than SC, but that Oregon-Washington game is going to be a big deal. Florida State-Miami is going to be a big deal. Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, when they get together for their merry-go-round. Those are all going to be big games. And I don't know why Kentucky's not ranked. I know they've not played well at times. I will say that. But they are undefeated. And if they beat the Gators, which they probably will do, not certainly will do. I mean, Missouri is ranked. Y'all, they got to win over Kansas State, but Missouri is ranked. So I just don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I do think Georgia is deserving of the one. I want to see how they play against Auburn. I think that they should handle that game. But it's a bit of a messy top 25 right now. It's not surprising. Check out EcoPoly. We've got 15% off and free shipping. That link is down below. This is one set. We've been in the love seat. We've got the tabletops. We've had the rocker. There's a lot of stuff we're trying to show y'all over the week here. But this, this is well made. Heart of Georgia. This is awesome. This is a perfect set for your backyard. If you want to set drinks and eat, watch, you can see one another. Ryan and I had it wrong last week the way we had it set up. But this Georgia team, they're not playing perfect. I think the team that's playing closest to perfect is Washington. I think Washington has a tough slog to get through their situation. Georgia's got not as tough a slog. They're kind of a little bit like Clemson was in the late 20 teens, where they're going to have to navigate some conference games, but they're just better than everybody else in their league right now, and that matters. And then you got to just play well in big moments. Have we had a big moment yet for Georgia? Actually, we have. They were down 11 at the half and came back to win by 10. So, and probably should have won by 17 if we're being honest. So, the only thing for the Dogs is not leaving points on the field, starting off games where you're going, if you want to call it starting off, where you're going 6 of 8 drives or touchdowns. I mean, first of all, that means you're scoring a pile of points. That means you're scoring over 40 right there. So you're not going to lose a lot of games with this defense scoring 40 points. But I think Georgia is probably right with them being number one. But there's work to be done, and the other teams have work to be done too. I mean, Ohio State could have certainly eaten a loss last night. Notre Dame is a good team, and if Ohio State beat them, that means Ohio State's a good team. So, no hate here, no Lou Holtz. I mean, I don't need Ryan Day, being fully triggered. Although they're pretty good at that up there at Ohio State right now. And God bless them. I mean, I get it, but geez, Ohio State versus Ohio versus, is it Ohio State or Ohio? I mean, it's Ohio State, right? It gets annoying when people call Ohio State Ohio, and then the head coach says Ohio versus the world. Ohio's the Bobcats, man. Like, Cincinnati's in Ohio. Kent State. All of these, all these MAC schools, a lot of them are in Ohio. I mean, they're not all Ohio people. Youngstown State, I mean, et cetera. I could go on. But, coaches like to get really bothered. Shane Beamer, Ryan Day, Dabo. Nick doesn't do it as much anymore. Kirby not as much necessarily as those guys. Jim Harbaugh doesn't seem to lose his mind at times, but, got to win. And that was a great win from Ohio State after some really – and by the way, for Lou Holtz, hey, Notre Dame ain't Georgia. They're not Clemson. They might be Clemson now. They're better than Clemson right now. They're not Georgia. They're not Bama. They're not Ohio State. I think that was proven last night. Or they don't shove that down your throat and walk the dog for a win. So Lou Holtz, let's take it down a level. Maybe go play 18 at Augusta. Kick it with some prunes or whatever you do. And but he's got to chill a little bit on hyping up the other team that Notre Dame plays. He's going to go in on Duke next. They can lose to Duke. Notre Dame can lose to Duke now. They probably won't. But Notre Dame can lose to Duke. Notre Dame's good, man. And there's not – the good thing for Notre Dame is they're good. And they should end up 11-1. But I mean, they got to go to Clemson, which apparently is much more difficult than just playing Clemson on the road or at home. They've got to go to Duke this week, and I don't know where their game with SC is, but they're not just going to roll out of bed and beat USC either. But it's been a fun. Hey, it's going to be even better. October, September, it's late September, October. This is going to be a lot of fun in college football. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website.